Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. We are here to go over our weekly recap of Love After Lockup. This episode was titled Love Me Not. This is so childish, y'all. But we're going to get into it and discuss this episode. I do appreciate everybody for watching and hope you guys subscribe to the channel. We're going to go over each couple and what happened with them in the entirety of the episode. And we are going to start with Shantae and True, who this episode is named after, by the way. Now, Shantae and True are the Hot Mess Express. I don't know what's happening with them. I'm curious to see what's going on, but he's excited about having twins with her. He's very excited to have kids. He seems more excited to have twins. Um, and he's going to go see her against her wishes. And he's going to see her with the intent to get back together, which is strange that now that you know you got a baby coming out, you suddenly want her back. And he claims that he regrets the breakup. And now that he's had time to like acclimate to society, he wants to be with her. But didn't he also say he was staying with a woman? Like, I don't trust half of what True says. Now, True claims because he's going to the grocery store. He claimed he know how to cook. We all know that the stuff they learn in prison, it don't always prepare you for what you really think you prepare for. And the way that he was shopping, not knowing what eggs to get, just little things like that. I said, oh yeah, he doesn't cook or haven't cooked since prison. It's very clear. And he's surprised at how expensive food is. And then he's also confused about how to use the self-checkout. You've been out for months. Have you not gone to a grocery store since you've been out? Like, why are you still acting as if you don't know certain things like within basic grocery shopping? Like, I don't understand. You've been out for months, fool. Like, what have you been doing? Who have you been doing? True. That's what I want to know. Anywho, he claims that he has been able to get money. I'm thinking maybe True got a job and because we see a lot of inmates on this show that actually end up doing well, even if it doesn't work out with the person. But it doesn't sound like True got a job because they asked him how he could afford to pay for things. And he was like, getting money, gambling, hustling. Hustling how? That doesn't sound good coming from somebody who was just in prison for so long. Like, it just does not sound good for you to be talking about getting money hustling. Like, once you get past a certain age, if you still hustling and doing shady stuff to get money, it's like at some point, grow up, get a job, a business, hell, invest in cryptocurrency or something. But he too old to be talking like that. But we know that he went to jail at 17. So in my opinion, True is still in the mind of like an 18-year-old boy. So he put the eggs in the trunk, y'all. I know I should not comment on that. That's going to make me sound so boring. But when you go to the grocery store, like your eggs and your bread, you usually bag separately, very carefully. And I'll put everything else in the trunk. But my eggs and my bread, I'm going to pull that to the front seat so that they don't, all get smushed up or destroyed or anything like that. He just threw everything in the trunk. And that's how I know he don't know nothing about cooking. Now he gets to Shantae's house and they try to play like she wasn't gonna let him in, but we knew she was gonna let him in. She was fully done up in a wig and her eyebrows and all of that. You ain't just sitting like that to be alone. You knew you was filming and you knew True was coming. Now, True claims when they talk that he wants to be there for his kids. He doesn't want to not be in their life. And, he says sorry. And Shantae does the whole, well, I don't care about your sorry. I want to see some action. And Shantae has a concern that he used her and that her family members will feel like he used her. And he makes a good point. He's like, I ain't used you. I've been on my own and doing well. But then it does seem like True is always doing either something shady or using a woman for something. So I don't know. Now, she asked him if he was talking to other people because they get to giggling. They do have a camaraderie, and you could tell there's like some type of bond between the two. But she asked if he was talking to other people, and he says to the camera, which I actually thought was mature, if I want any shot of being with her, I got to keep it real. I got to be honest. This is true. True. But I also want to see him like truly practice being faithful to her, because you got your, like you said, True, you got your stuff out when you broke up with her. You got your I just got out your system. So I'll say that at least he was honest, because he did say that he did talk to some other people while they were broken up. But I don't trust True as far as I could throw his big ass. I do not trust him. I just don't. And the episode pretty much ends with Shantae looking like a fool, acting like we back in the second grade. Well, I'll say I'll give it grades 2 to 5. Talk about he loves me not. He loves, girl. That had to be for the camera and part of the reality TV that makes it not so reality. Because why are you doing that? He loves me not stuff as like a woman that's 30 some years old. Like, girl, grow the hell up. That's just my opinion. The next couple I'm gonna go over is Zaria and Troy. His mom is a hoot. She cracks me the hell up. She took the gummies, went to church. She was in there filled with the Holy Ghost while cracking up with the giggles and the munchies. She was funny, but Troy did not want his mama to come. And Zaria in that doggone ponytail and all of those, I'm going to call them skincare problems, whatever's going on. She insisted. Zaria's weird. Like, she's very immature, and I can kind of, she one of those chicks where when you see her in a relationship, you understand why she's single. And I know that they're still together and they're doing things together, but in my opinion, it's because he is so patient with her. That's just my opinion. Now, I don't know why Zaria was trying to like gel her ponytail without like taking it out, truly like brushing your hair, getting a fresh, like, she was doing something strange with that ponytail. I'm not going to judge her too much because I really can't do much. I am not gifted hair wise in terms of doing hair. I could do some singles, a little flat iron, and some ponytails. I pay my braider. I love her to death. So I don't know, but Zaria, it's okay to like find you somebody to do your hair. It's okay. They don't even have to be in the shop. My braider's not in the shop. I go to her house. I give her some money. That's my homie, and we get it done. But she has to figure it out. Zaria has to figure that out. Anywho, Zaria is nervous and upset because she got to be around a baby mama. She does not want to go to Maryland and is saying that the baby mama's a bitch and that's why she's nervous. And once again, it seems like she gets to thinking, she goes to a negative place, she gets herself going, and then she shuts down and takes it out on everybody around her, which is unhealthy. She's just really negative. Now, she suddenly jumps to thinking that Troy got some stuff to hide, and she's upset basically that he spoke to the baby mama. And she feel like whenever he talked to the baby mama, he always goes to the next room, and she feels like he's hiding stuff or the baby mama knows things. Now, we then see her complaining about how she has to compromise in a relationship. I'm like, but what is wrong with you, girl? That is literally what it means to be in a relationship. 50-50, that's compromise. 50-50 means neither person may be getting 100% of what they want, but you compromise. Zaria is just not ready for marriage, but already married, like most of the people on the show, in my opinion. But she was talking to Troy all sorts of crazy, and I was surprised he didn't knock her upside her head. I was really surprised, and I was glad that he didn't, because I feel like she's the type of chick that could really like provoke somebody to do some stuff that they should not do. Um, but we see that 2 hours goes by because Troy walks outside, and you could tell he was mad and he was going for a walk, and he was just trying to figure his own thoughts out. It seemed like, and he walked for 2 hours. Production said he walked 6 miles. I said, my God, if I ever stress my husband out or have stressed him out to a point where he had to go for a 6 mile walk, I'm gonna have to seek some therapy because that's not fair to your partner. That man walked for 6 miles in 2 hours in the hood. Hell to the no. You know she irritated him. And then looking at that ponytail probably didn't help neither in that skin. But he says he just wants peace. He keeps repeating that. And then back at the house with Zaria, we see the mama talking to Yana, the baby mama. She giving her the lowdown like they fighting over you. She tripping. And Yana apparently told Troy's mom that Zaria had a dude up in the house. I'm like, why would the baby mama know Zaria's business, especially if she lives so far? Like, there's lots of holes missing. I don't understand why she threw that fit to go see the baby mama. You married this man knowing that he had a baby mama. If he hasn't seen his daughter in all these years, then I mean he ain't seen the baby mama in all these years. So why are you tripping so hard on a baby mama? If she wants him, let her want him. Let me tell y'all, true story. I got with my husband, his ex still wanted him. That's fine. Let it be. Let it be. That's all I'm saying. But Zaria did too much in my opinion. I don't know how y'all felt about that episode, but Zaria irritated me. She definitely needs to work on like her coping skills and all of those crazy types of things. Um, Moving on along, Hope and Arthur. I just want to start this by saying, God bless you, Arthur. I know that he is locked up right now, but people really do experience trauma, and he's the example of that. And I'm going to give my opinion on Hope once I get through it. Now, Hope is slow. She says at the beginning when we first see them on this episode, Hope is talking about Arthur needs to be spending time with his girlfriend over his mama. He just got out of prison. He should be spending time with everybody equally. She is extremely toxic. And they're not together today. Allegedly, she shot him or something. I don't know what's going on. Now, she takes him to the fashion store because he has a passion for fashion. He likes to put stuff together. And he says that he made clothes in prison for other people, but did not charge anybody. He said because everybody deserves to feel good about themselves. I said, deep down, this man is a sweetheart who's made bad choices and is really just living in his circumstances and the trauma that he has now. Like, he looked crazy with that triangle on his forehead, but he doesn't seem to be a bad person. You could tell he's got a lot of emotions he wants to let out. And it's a shame that he doesn't feel safe to do it with this female because I feel like that should be the beauty in when a woman being with a man. They should feel safe to let their feelings out with us at the very least and not have it thrown back in their face. But she does try to do a nice thing for him and take him to the fashion store. Uh, However, unfortunately, her sister calls her on the FaceTime, and we learn that her siblings do not know anything about Arthur because she's scared that they're gonna judge him because of his situation. So she wants to give him a fair chance, and it looked like she want to wait till he got a job or something before introducing him to her family. Now, he did not like that he was kept a secret and asked to be quiet on the FaceTime. And I agree that he was right on that. That's red flag number one. Why are you hiding this man who you've already cheated on before? Why are you hiding him but then tripping because he's kicking it with his mama who knows about you? I don't understand Hope. I really don't understand her. Now, it's a mess because they go home and he finds an old picture of her and some other guy in the closet when looking for stuff. And he again brings up the trust issues and the cheating. He asks her about the pictures, but she kind of like paused and she didn't really like answer him in a way that was like appropriate, and he didn't like fully want to press her. I feel like he also don't want to do all of that on camera, and there have been inmates from Love After Lockup who have spoken out about how like the cameras can be overwhelming, especially when you're fresh out of prison. You ain't seen the light of day in sometimes decades, years. Now you got a camera on you. You're trying to understand what reality TV is. It's cars on the damn street that don't take gas and is electric. They trying to figure it out. Okay, so it can be overwhelming. I feel like Arthur experienced that. But Hope keeping secrets and pictures. Um, it's a mess. Now, fast forward through the episode, and Hope says that since Arthur has come home, he has been quieter. He's not as talkative. And I don't think it's only because of prison. I feel like it's partially because there may be that good sexual energy there, but sexual energy does not constitute an actual like connection with somebody. When you really like connect with your soulmate, because I personally feel like I found mine, it really is like it's different. It will feel different from anything else. So I don't know. And part of that would be opening up to that person. And he just does not seem to feel safe with Hope. doing that because she has tripped on him about stuff that's stupid. Like he spent time with his mama, hasn't gone to see any friends, and like she just been tripping on him, and I do not like that. But he tries to explain to Hope that he is still institutionalized and it makes it hard for him to talk about things and to connect. And she kept poking him when it was very clear and evident that this man needed space. I think it's important when you're dating anybody to be very careful and to learn your person. And you should fall back when you know that you could push them to a dark place or poke them to a point where things escalate. And Hope doesn't understand that at all. She has no discernment, in my opinion. Now, he explains that he is afraid to talk, and Hope is still kind of trying to get him to talk. And it's like, baby girl, you are not a therapist. You're not trained in counseling. You're not a mediator of any sort. You're just a regular person. And you're so caught up in yourself because you want him to talk to you. So it proves that you have this great love, that you're not paying attention to what this man is actually going through. All he needed in that moment, hold his hand, give him some space, let him know, take your time, but you are supported. Help him to feel safe. And Hope did everything opposite, in my opinion, of helping him to feel safe. Now he breaks down and leaves, and you could hear him because he's still mic'd. You could hear him break down, like he's really having an emotional moment. And the producers end up going to check on him because they were concerned. Like you could tell he wasn't in his right mind. It looked like he was having some type of anxiety attack or moment of like slight moment of psychosis or something. But he was definitely not in the correct mental space. And at the same time, though I'm going to get it, Hope, she is not trained to deal with someone in that mental space. So it is very difficult to deal with that if you've never dealt with it before, especially if you have no training in it. And then you're dealing with that on camera and all of that. But aside from that, I think she did a terrible job from beginning to end. She has been poking this man. And when she's not poking him, she's complaining about him spending time with someone as important to him as his mother. She is really, in my opinion, just not inept to deal with him or support him. Now, downstairs, she comes down, or downstairs while he's freaking out. Hope eventually comes downstairs and she tries to talk to him again. And this man is literally just stuck and staring at her. And she tries to hug him and he stops her. And in my opinion, like people thought, oh, he looked crazy, but I don't know. I work in mental health, and to me, like even when people are in moments of mania and psychosis, something that's common is they know what they want. And in those moments, they're usually not okay with the person that they don't have a good rapport with or can trust. I think that demonstrated that he does not trust this woman. Because if that man trusted and loved his woman, he would still struggle because I think he has severe PTSD, but he wouldn't reject the affection. He wouldn't reject the comfort. And he won't hug her. And she got mad for a second because she's like, "You're not going to hug me?" And then you could tell she really realized, oh, something's wrong with him. But why did you have to make it about you before paying attention to that man, Hope, to know something was wrong? Girl, bye. Now, he's so unresponsive that production decided to call his mom. And do you know when he called his mom, he finally was able to speak. He did not say a lot, but he told his mom that he loved her and he was a little bit more responsive to talk after speaking to his mom. That is because that is a safe person for him, regardless of what happened. I do feel like Hope has kind of tried to separate him from his family a little bit, both with talking about how, negatively, like, oh, y'all ain't support him when he was locked up. Like, I would never say that to a dude's mom. Like, moms could be so much worse. They really could. Like, Hope has no clue. But his mom did help him. And that's very telling that Hope couldn't help him through. But his mama helped him. I was happy to see that production decided to pause filming and did offer Arthur some mental health services. What those services consist of, I don't know. The networks love to not tell us, and then we hear later when these people who are on the show, do interviews and stuff like, oh, it was a joke. Like I got like one session with the therapist, and one session with the therapist is not the appropriate response to someone who's having a mental health crisis. Sometimes they might need like a psychiatrist, a therapist, like they might need like an actual like behavioral health intervention of some sort. So, I was concerned with what I saw and I really hope that he got the help that he needed. My heart goes out to Arthur. I know he's sitting in jail right now off of some drama and mess that is connected to Hope. I really do hope that this young man figures it out. Um, I really do. I hope God blesses him so that he's able to get free. And if he does, I hope God blesses him with the discernment and the will to just be done with this toxic relationship. Because before the shooting and this whole incident, he said off camera they had got together before and she cheated. So I just don't think they're meant for each other, is what I'll say, without downing hope. We gonna move on to the next couple, y'all, which is Bianca's dumbass and Daniel. I'm sorry I got to call her that. Now, Bianca has moved to Arizona to be with Daniel, and she is young, she is dumb, she does not listen, she's willful, and she is seeking a trauma bond. And she immediately complains when she's in Arizona, like, it's horribly hot and I'm homesick. Girl, what the hell did you expect, young lady? You was moving to the desert. What the hell did you expect? Of course it's hot. It's the desert. Come on. Anyhow, this is her first time ever living away from home. Um, and she's doing it in her home state, in a place where she's only going to know a man. Now, usually when people move from state to state, their jobs, if they're not moving to a place where they have family or friends, their jobs is how they, build social connections. Either their jobs or they're going to be extroverted and go out and talk to people at a bar and meet people. That's how it goes. Or your neighbors, things like that. She is just moving there. She has a lot of savings, which we know, girl, you got a settlement for your accident. But we know you can't say that, but she has a lot of money. And I feel like she just, she has nothing to do. She has no way to meet people. She's just inside of her house because Arizona, my best friend James, who I do a lot of TV recaps with on this channel and on his channel, he lives in Arizona and it is hot. Okay. It is hot as hell. So she, you got to stay inside a lot. It's the truth because it's too hot sometimes. And now she talks to Daniel on the phone, and we learn that he still basically has a big question mark about his parole. His parole, the conditions of his parole, he has this already because he's going to be getting out. The conditions of his parole state that he has to go to a halfway house. But Daniel is hoping that he can get out. And when he meets with his parole officer, he wants to see if he can finesse the parole officer to let him go to her house, which might be better for him because it does seem like him, his family, everybody's taking his sobriety seriously. Sorry, y'all, if I have the sniffles. I'm still getting over the flu. Um, but he's hoping that they'll let him go to her house. And if not, he'll have to do the halfway house for a little bit and then he can go to her. Excuse me. In my opinion, just follow the doggone rules and go to her when the time is right. He is doing too much, in my opinion. And it's like, okay, you're getting sober, but you're still not accepting that you have to listen to people. You're trying to finesse your way out of stuff. Now, she wants him to herself. And I thought this was so immature. Now she wants him to herself. And, he's like, there's plenty of me to go around. And she is still bothered by the fact that the first thing his dad asked her is, how mentally stable are you? Now, she's concerned that the parents aren't going to like her. And there's already like some issues around the fact that she knows that he struggles with alcohol. That's why he's in prison, but she's not willing to not drink around him. Like, she's that girl that likes to have a glass of wine when she gets home at night, occasionally finish the bottle, which nothing is wrong with. But I do find it strange that she has such a positive relationship with alcohol, considering it almost killed her. And her boyfriend she went looking for because she wanted to understand people who drove drunk. And there's just a lot with her that doesn't make sense with me. And you could tell that a lot of the choices she makes are out of, one, the fact that she's young and just has a lack of experience and maturity in life. And two, it seems like everything that she seeks out that's like sticks, housing, where she lives, who she dates, drinking, is connected to a trauma. And I really think that she needs a lot of help. Like, and the dad was that's a valid question. Hell, how mentally stable are you, chick? Now, the day comes for her to meet the parents, and she also is going to be meeting one of the cousins. And she knows that the parents are nervous about her drinking. Yet the first thing she does when she gets there is order a vodka and cranberry. And they arrive, the parents, and we learn that the dad has been sober for 5 months. And he immediately apologizes for his comment. And he did seem genuine after seeing him on camera and the dynamic of the video. He really just seems like sarcastic and obnoxious. And she seems like extra and hypersensitive, and like she really needs therapy, like a damn good therapist. And I think she could use a psychiatrist too. But that's just my opinion, y'all. Now, she accepts the apology, and the mom immediately gets down to the nitty gritty. When I tell y'all, Daniel's mom kept her foot on her neck, and I understood her more because we do learn that he had another brother who died from a fentanyl overdose. So she probably has a larger fear and concern about her kids relapsing or, dying, because people are overdosing left and right. Fentanyl seems to be in everything, and it's very, very sad. It really is very, very sad. Um, but the mom is asking her how much she actually drinks because they're concerned about the drinking. And for some reason, Bianca takes it as the family thinks she has a drinking problem. I did not get that vibe from the family. If anybody got that vibe, please feel free to comment your opinion and let me know why. I would love to hear it. But I did not get the vibe from the family that they felt like Bianca had a drinking problem. What I do get the vibe from is the fact that she keeps acting as if people are accusing her of that, Daniel included. It makes me think maybe she feels like she has a problem and is not ready to admit it, because you order a drink around them. Like, that's the one time, like, try to have respect for his parents. Like, don't order a drink. I wouldn't have ordered a drink. If I know these people don't like me drinking around their son, I'm not going to sit and have a drink in front of them. It just doesn't make sense. Try and show some respect. But I'm starting to think maybe she do have a problem and she don't want nobody to know. Now, the family tries to warn her of his history and how many times he's relapsed and the things that he does when he's in that state and how he turns to drugs. And the mom gets really emotional and she makes a good point. Like, Bianca has no clue what she's in for. And then Bianca seems to think in her little head that she can deal with someone who has addiction. I can say from personal experience, it is extremely hard to deal with a loved one that is overcoming addiction, or especially when they're actively in it. But the scariest part is when they're finally safe and then you think that they're going to be okay and they might relapse, and you don't know if that's going to happen or when. And that's hard. That's really hard. So I really did empathize with his mom. At first, I was like, dang, she really pressing her. But then I was like, no, she's fighting for her child's sobriety. And Daniel is too. And Bianca's just ignoring everybody. Now, we last see these people in this episode with Bianca asking the cousin why he is convinced Daniel not to marry her. That's the tea. So that's the cousin that don't want you to marry him. I think that cousin is right. I don't think Bianca and Daniel will last. If they do, he's extremely patient. And she probably don't want to admit that, it may not work. Moving on, y'all, we're going to discuss Julian and Christine. She's having trouble checking in with her PO, which happens sometimes. She can't reach her PO. She's gone to prison twice, and we learned that the second time was because she did not report to her PO. So I can understand her anxiety, but she does eventually go down to the PO office and get her cell phone, her cell phone number. Apologies, y'all. Still getting over the flu. Now, they go and eat, Julian and Christine, and she expresses that she's overwhelmed with all that comes with returning home. The PO thing, having to find a job, the fact that he wants her hidden because his ex don't know about her. And we also know that she has custody issues. And apparently Julian has promised her that he would hire an attorney to help her get custody and visiting rights with her children. But this has not happened at all. Now, in my opinion, she should not complain. Her situation, get a job, get yourself out of it, do something to be proactive. But then on her end, she's like, they do live in a very expensive part of Maryland. She's like, he's made it seem like he has money. He has his own attorney so that he could have a good custody agreement with his children, his townhouse. Basically, he has things and a career, which most people who are not in jail, they have something, even if it's rented, you got something, you know. But she is just really bothered by the fact there's not an attorney. And I'm like, you need to focus on applying for jobs. Like when it comes to your kids, most of the women I know, and I have friends who've gone to jail and been away from their kids and come back, all they focused on is finding a job so that they can get the attorney that's going to get them to their kids, or get the bus ticket that's going to get them to their kids, gas money, whatever it takes. That's what they do. You don't depend on nobody who is not the parent of your kids to be there, unless it's really the grandparents, in my opinion. But I also get where she's coming from in thinking that Julian is hiding something from her, and she has worries now that he's going to let her down. What I will say, it's interesting how inmates stress about being an adult. She complained about stuff the rest of us deal with all the time. I get that it's hard, but eventually she needs tough love of some sort. And the good thing about Julian is I feel like he will give that. Downside, I do feel like Julian having to hide her, the ex not knowing about her, that's some bullshit, Julian. He know he wrong. Separate from that, we can all see that his vibe noticeably changed. He went from quirky and fun and excited to, like, you could tell he's nervous and on edge and less fun. His vibe changed once they got to Maryland. It's a fact. It just did. Moving on, you guys. Letitia and Keith are the last couple we go talk about. And I'm glad, because Letitia and Keith, I'm sick of both of them. Now, Letitia goes to see an actual attorney that she has for Keith or whoever. She sees a real attorney instead of this stupid paralegal Ben. And the attorney explains the law did not change, but a policy changed within sentencing. And this does not apply to Keith. So the lawyer also points out that the paralegal is charging people to file paperwork. And that is likely why the public defender that was assigned to the case dropped out. The lawyer also explained that Keith has only 8 months left of his sentence, and that they should have never taken recommendations from other inmates about legal help. Let me just get through it, and then I'm gonna ask my question at the end for y'all. Now, Letitia, you are an accountant, which means that you are educated, even though you don't pay your bills, even though something is wrong with you, but you are educated. And I cannot understand how you would not know that a paralegal is not a lawyer. They're not. They're not. They're not lawyers. They know the law so that they can, work within the law. But if they're filing paperwork, it should be on the behalf of an attorney in their office, not just filing paperwork for people taking their own clients. Do the work, go to law school, pass the bar, Ben. A lot of paralegals are working as paralegals while in law school. I've got lots of cousins who've done it. Do the work. I don't like when people are like imposters to, certain fields of work that matter, that people really study for, learn the law front to back. And he over here pretending, charging people to file paperwork they could have filed themselves. Just for a public defender to have to be assigned to the case, probably wondering why the paralegal's involved. If anything, I wouldn't even want them to do legal consultations, but unless they were law students, but it is what it is. That's all Letitia and Keith. They basically took a recommendation from an inmate because he was able to help a couple inmates get off. But a couple inmates getting off, they're not telling us how many inmates Ben has not been able to get off. Long story short, Ben scammed them. They paid $1,000. They lost their money. They gonna finish out what is happening with the case with Ben, but they're not gonna pay him any more money. She does tell Keith about this, and he acts like he's not tripping and all of this, but she swears that he's mad. And honey, just because your husband a big deal to you, we don't really care if he's mad. Either way, he's out in 8 months. I don't understand. Now she lets Aunt Marcia know about what's going on, and that's Keith's aunt, who's always there helping with the kids. And this is where she learns the status of her house. Now we saw her get a pink slip for her house, and she had to move. And this house she just moved into because she was evicted from her last house. Now she has to look for another house because the house that she's in, the owners are being foreclosed on, which tells me probably because all the evictions she got on her credit, she's looking for rent to owns or owners that she can rent from directly, private landlords versus property management companies. Um, but they have a month to leave the house. Girl, get an apartment and stop trying to live beyond your means. Letitia is everything you should not be. If she would live within her means, she would probably see a lot of her debt to correct and things would get better. She lived outside of her means. Now, before I end this live, I just want to say regarding Letitia and Keith, We TV, why are they still on this show? Y'all had Ty on Love During Lockup for a couple of seasons. Letitia's husband is not getting out. Therefore, she should still be on Love During Lockup. This is Love After Lockup. This man is still locked up. I don't want to see it no more. Would have been a great storyline for Love During Lockup. Would have been great. I don't know what the hell they doing or why they doing it, but that is my recap. I did enjoy the episode. I will continue to recap this weekly. As always, we will always recap Love During Lockup, Life After Lockup, and Love After Lockup. Be sure to support all YouTube creators, independent, big, and small, especially those that recap your favorite shows, because you guys really do keep us going. Like and share the video. I will now be going over to James's channel on the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel around 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we will be recapping Love and Marriage Huntsville, as well as Love and Marriage Detroit. Love and light to all of you. Thug Life, subscribe to the channel, and check out a music reaction, y'all. Bye-bye.